Okay, so this is more of a test of like kind of emergency management or LCX, if you want to call it that. Training, whatever. I have a food management certificate. I will try to reach out to management communications specialist. This is a video, for example, to connect with anyone in Nestle who might be considering, proponently like having some issues with their system and just kind of ignoring them. So, I posted things, on my LinkedIn, and this is kind of video proof of it, but this is going to just go over basically that I did dialogue, I did try to connect, I did follow with the Nestle employees. And I've already done this, so I'm just going to skim through the Nestle employees. And, I have a clearance to look at these people, their work history and whatnot. That's because I connected, nothing else. And, if you're saying like, well, I can't do that, you can certainly do it if you're trying to protect someone or protect people. So this, again, is just an instance or an issuance of, being friendly, kind, and, being mature for someone who's level-headed and thinking like an adult, thinking ahead and thinking so people don't get hurt in the future from bad food or, just bad management, bad communication. So just the whole point of LCX, train your system, go deeper and farther, than the template performs. So here we go. So go on. We'll go to LinkedIn here, and this is just our arbitrary feedback. So basically, I'll just type in Nestle over here. Oh, mistyped it right there. Okay, so Nestle, type it in. Oh, there it goes. Shows I'm following. I followed it today. Apparently, I thought I followed it before, but apparently not. So I'll just go on to, there's a section home about posts, jobs, life, people. I'll click on people. There's 3,758 employees working in education, 40 employees who study communication journalism, maybe, 13,005 employees working in the United States. So here are the people, these are the top people in my feed. And even though it's a second, these are the top people in my feed. So it said 175,276 associated members. So these are all the people I platformed with. It doesn't change. These are all the same. So no matter what I see, these are all the same. So click on it. This is pending. So pending a connection, and this person worked in sales. They don't have a picture, obviously, but it shows their work history. And then basically these are the people I happen to see on my feedback, and these are the people you can connect with. But the odd thing about it is, and I don't know if it's a corporate your brand name or branding guideline or branding strategy, or corporate strategy, CMO. You might consider CMO like kind of the basic duty of human resources to an extent, right? So you would basically ask yourself, can I do this work in my free time, or am I willing to? As someone who is a CMO, or who would be like a project manager, or any role financially liable for a company, you would think that's appropriate. You would think like maybe I wouldn't say 5 hours like a week, scheduling for your CMO activity related things like that. But you would think it would like have to do with spending it to catch your feet, like in a network, understanding your job role and things like that. I just don't think it's that liable. So I mean, you could go over to different companies. For example, you could go into Microsoft. I got a request connection from someone in Microsoft. I'll show you. Let's see, my network. Manage my network connections. Let's see if it was there. This person right here. His name is Vishal Vijay Emin, presidential scholar, cybersecurity leader at Microsoft. And it looks like he's from Carlsbad, California. So, I mean, you could go over his page and say like, well, like this guy was, prompt enough to look at the issue at hand. Like there's, probably refrigeration issues, circuit problems with, a lot of circuitry, like just missing circuits, and then just not doing the same thing it's saying the system is doing. False computing, really. So, I mean, you could go over it all and, make it is what it is. But, I mean, this person found response, right now. But the problem is, like, with the network, again, you have to have a connection or a second connection to connect with people. And it's not always the case. You can just have a second connection to connect with people. It is really about who you're connecting with and what strategy you're following. But I mean, you could say there's a set strategy, but there really isn't. It's about networking. It's about following your potential with work. Ethic, I guess, has an important point. I've never seen someone who volunteered, worked, and done this before very quickly. So I mean, it could take some time. I mean, you could basically get the account premium on LinkedIn, and it would show the same quality. I mean, you could go deeper. You could see more searches, and that's true. It will take quicker time, and you could connect with pretty much anyone. But there's limitations like email. Some people require an email. I'm not sure how popular that idea is. It really has to do with resolve in like ECP, like kind of electronic click per. I mean, you don't really gather that much feed. There's rules and laws. Like ICANN has to follow the same laws and things like that. But it's a long story to get into. But you can see all of these people. I know I have Todd Gloria here. I have the fiance, my fake fiance, Nora McFadden. She doesn't really show connections. She's more of a fake account. So, I mean, you could look over all the people you could connect with, and you could say, well, like this person didn't really communicate or contact or, do what they needed to do in the free time, which is like kind of build it into a principal lead. No, I would say for a company, I mean, you don't have to give your information in company. Would you just give your information in company? I probably would. I would probably, think about like, the horizon of, programming or, project management or just kind of databasing and kind of like use it as usury law. But the problem is you get these people who are pen testing. So they're pen testing like equipment, electronics, and apparently they're government contractors at the same time. I'm not saying anything about anything, but there's a flaw in the system that a project manager sometimes, but a pen tester or someone like who is a education counselor can deviate social means and norms, and that's the same thing as a mental health counselor. They can't just deviate social norms and principles. You can't take one position and put it in another position. It's a change in ethic or worldview. So that goes along with the principle of like degree changing, like Six Sigma, right? So, the principle is, once you become like once you become in a network, right? You don't principally change. You just kind of settle everything in like your communication means. So you're streamlined. You have all the information you need. It's in the database, whether it's linked to other databases or not, and that's a key principle right there. And then you have the technology that like combines those processes, like like databases themselves, or like electronic clicks per, or just kind of SEO, just basic things, steps, basically CMO things as well. And then there's that horizon of repetition in business and kind of getting that quality right. Same as the thing in like old style business, like different methodologies in business or business intelligence as well as a major lead up to that point, and it exists to settle the fears over facts basically, and I don't see that going on at all. So you could look at all the people even though you could have an FBI agent that's a special agent for 26 years. There's not going to be a feedback to this communication style. So it is against the law, I guess, for maybe an FBI agent to conceal or consolidate information. So there's the big question there. But I mean, for specific people, I mean, they've probably gotten granted FOI requests or requestable information packets or something like that, so that they could release information or have their opinion or viewpoint or sign some sort of non-disclosure agreement. So it's kind of a fluster. So you could go ahead and you could collect information as say an AI model, right? And nobody feels comfortable with calling it an AI model if it's maybe someone who's susceptible to system error, flaw, or in the case have like socioeconomic problems. So it's a real tough, interesting subject to consider. It's like a class versus an array. It's something you wouldn't wish upon the world, but it's a question of like the buildup of stratification versus like quality or quantity. And the United States is very big on that. Its brand channel is marketing, branding, CMO. That's basically all it is. So you have stratification, you have classification, like business intelligence, and it's all running through CMO. So that's a big, curious concern of the people would think who would accept a friend or a connection request out of nowhere. So the big principle is like, why can't I network the way I want to network? Why can't I go on Facebook or someone else Instagram and network? Well, I don't know. I don't know the reason or answer to that either. You could network on Facebook, but there's full of fake accounts. This one looks like less fake accounts. So again, you could look over different people. Here's David from Amazon. He's a corporate recruiter at Amazon. I looked at him earlier. I said hi to him. He didn't say hi at all, but it looked like he did something specific to Amazon. So, you could look at all the people, you keep on going down. You could know them, you could not know them. It could be, different types of people, people you could look up, any which way you want to. But, the question is, like where do you deviate? Like you could join a group. You could create a group called World of Press, a focus group. So journalism students could complete their focus group requirements for journalism. It goes so far. Is it open to anyone? Yeah, I'm sure it should be open to anyone. But you could look at different groups, northern treaties and different resolutions. I made that one to talk to others in certain situations. This is a northern hemispherical problem. I don't see what it would have to do with North Atlantic Treaty Organization, but the temperate issue is maybe that, like, is it north versus south of the equator? Is the technology different? Is the networking different? But I don't think it should be. But I mean, this is what I see. So you could the smallest stretch imaginable of like the quality of information or groups you could obtain. Will it mean anything? Will you see anything out of the ordinary that you couldn't see before? Because I doubt it. I mean, I could see like what you might consider a direction, and like with e-commerce, that was the biggest like platform issue. When like FedEx got started, Amazon got started. Yahoo was even trying to get into the business. Jack Dorsey was even, founding the idea of Twitter. And before that, he worked on different various blogs, like Tumblr was one of them. But all of the pressing issues was, like, does my client have enough food to eat? It doesn't matter about the technology. I want this person to eat. I want, it to stay friendly. I want it to be friendly. I want it to be more ethical. And then you go up to these like points of like can I have a fraction of a principal like loan or like an EE. And that's a big purpose in like tax what we considered distribution, tax distribution. So I mean, you could look in the quality of loopholes, but this is as basic. You can get a newsletter here. This is the newsletters you can get on my feed at least. The best. I don't see why they're the completely best at all. These hashtags. You can get a hash of startups. Interesting. Connections, contacts. And I mean, like, this is out of like the principle of like looking at my profile, and it's pretty sparing. I'll just put sparing is like kind of like pieced together because out of my skill level, and I'm not saying skill level, I'm saying like the aptitude of how I can actually request documents for like prior work history, and then all of the people who didn't pay me money for like contracting. Or, your project management or, what you might consider organizational management for programming or whatever resource it was for different companies. I mean, Apple was one of them. There was other ones. There was plenty of them. And I was also a writer for music for several musicians. So, you could look at the equity of that and say, well, that's, like a class action lawsuit. But, will it ever get anywhere with the corrupt legal system as it is? Who knows? So look at my profile. It says Austin, liberty, democracy, and freedom. All things I stand for. So, it's good. And then it shows open to work, project manager, music writer, life coach. Apparently not getting anywhere. So these are profile looks and analytics. So when LinkedIn first came out, it said looks and analytics. It didn't say analytics. It's a little bit unprofessional. It's like program logistics. And I go back to this LCX concept. It's a lifesaver for a business. If you've never had a business before that was corporate, that was in brand name, or was in chain logistics or supply management, LCX is a big fix for your business because it puts the resources into something directly otherwise relative to CMO, and that's the biggest folly point for a business. Probably since the 50s. Probably. I mean, that's probably the oldest thing in the book too. You're tricking your hand in business, and then don't get me wrong. I mean, there's probably some sort of point to it, and that's why it's so self-revolved. But CMO doesn't really do much. It's like the I wouldn't say the corner or anything like that. It's just the temptation of the business. Why would you want to, expand something that is meant to be, a ladder for you to show support for your fellow colleagues, your employees, anybody who works in this business. It's called a temperate business. So you go on, and these are the post impressions. And again, it doesn't mean that I've had any quality comments or any at all. I've had zero. So you go on creator mode, my network, and then it shows us featured 101. Not me featured. And then here's a quick disband post I made. And this is just a typical post I'll make just about project management. Where do we develop the business plan to support the ethics or direction the business should go? What are the problems? What are the quality checks the business needs to go? And again, I'm not going to pay to record any of this. This is all self determined. I don't want a business to fail that people depend on, right? It looks like the business is going to fail, right? When you look at your product you get and it doesn't turn out good, and you call the hotline and they can't take your call at 4:00 p.m. or they don't have a system in place, shows me that the coworkers or the employees at this business don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea how to run a business, in this role. So it's kind of confusing. So you look into this. This one says *#21 pound. Are your signals crossed? And then it shows hashtag LCX. So this is just kind of what your phone setting would probably not look like if you're running a corporate business and your phone is all set up. So it says async data, circuit call forwarding, all calls forwarding. So, I mean, you probably need someone from IT to do this. And then again, *#25 pound. Who knows what that could be? Probably important. I could imagine, since I typed it in again. And then you say setting interrogation succeeded, calling the line, ID restriction disabled, error performing request, unknown error, error performing request, unknown error, and then again the 25 pound, and then all these interrogation signal disables. So I mean, why would you have disabled? Because the root is disabled. From what I hear, somebody took the time and said, roots can't be disabled or enabled in, my district or, my, what would it be called, area. So that's anywhere in my server, and I can look up my server information. That's all disabled on this. Why? I don't know why. I presume it's a programming mistake where something succeeded, approximation. So that's like a code that would enable a programming code. Very simple and basic. So don't proceed something that is an absolute value. It's like closed bracket versus looped bracket. It's like you can't signify an array as a principal array. So the more you go on, the more you'll learn. It's not a catch up system. It's a unique system. You want to learn, your roots, your causes for, action for programming. Like, don't just simply say, I know a MAC address. Say, I'm working on it. I can learn, specific, proximities and kind of understand the equality in what I would consider communications. These are all communication styles and techniques. So, you just keep on going on. And then, so we'll go to the next post here, just as an example. And then, I'll show you right now. These are the experiences I have communications intern at Students with Psychosis internship for the past 4 months. And then I only had to do 40 hours of volunteer work for a nonprofit. So this is what I'm putting in for that. Plus I have to do another internship in a focus group for my communication class. So here's another one, freelance aids. Employed different needs for patients, and then music instructor, writer, producer for different creative musicians, basically. And then here's a small one, checkout advocate, target seasonal, and then housing manager for a company that operated a facility for those that needed a place to live, who were having mental health issues. And I was a living manager, so I got to learn, all of those things. But here's the school, I went to. It's the University of Maine at Presque Isle. That's where I'm currently going to school for AP in communication journalism and related programs. So I actually am completing 4 or 5 other minors with this program, hoping to get into another double major, and then possibly going back for the other minors to complete the degree. So tell me I don't have to, but looking at all this, somebody's pretty unprepared for the material world of business. Says I should, and I shouldn't back down. So these are all of the things I have here. International Bachelorette IB, Diploma of Education, English, Language, and Literature General. Yeah, I did a good job in that. Got a good grade in my English class. It was just a college program for English, a diploma program for English studies, and then here's my high school, and then of course MIT Open. I did take a certificate program from MIT Open. So yeah, and then there's these ones, online CPR, AED, first aids, all these things, and it shows you how the feed would work. Processing these networking. Does this handle any responsibility in supplying foreign IDs or foreign keys or internal keys for a database? It's a good question, because I think it technically should. I don't see why it would not. It doesn't have to just show the unique, foreign key or anything if someone has a food card, But the problem, another issue is, if they had just gone to this business and they collected that information. Nobody wants that. Nobody needs that. So here are the other ones. They're all pretty much up to date. There's the CPR, sexual harassment prevention training, and that's for management. Then food handlers card, California responsibility, beverage service training, food handlers card, food protection management certificate, part 107, small UAS recurrent, and I don't know anything about that. Food allergens essentials course, state food safety, hand hygiene guard registration, that's expired. This food handler card expired. So you could look at that, and then I'll just show you one more post. I made basically, and then these are basically what I've been doing with my AI model. So I posted on LinkedIn. What a better place than to talk about community concern than LinkedIn. I think as a professional adult, I should do that, and I should take proactive action to fix a flaw that I see flawed. If I see someone in the community getting threatened in a way, so I'm putting it right here. This is just a document case of somebody sending me a message here. So it says, this guy sent me nude pictures. Wow, I've literally received 2 messages so far from this post. We all know that's not true. So basically that means out of the root cause, out of everything, somebody's surveying the network right now. And you're like, how is somebody surveying the network? Because I've seen this. I volunteered at Craigslist before. There's a lot more messages that come through to this. They just don't have the money to relay all the messages, so they're counting the system somehow. And somebody has access to, well, again, a foreign key database. What is a foreign key? A foreign key shows up on another database, and it collects that information. So basically that's the big database, the table, something like an Excel sheet, or a, for access, you have one database table, it has a foreign key in it, and it's connected to another table, and it has the signature key in it. So it's like collecting information packets, so that's what you have. And then, so this says, come be my naked housemate, free rent. Just hang out naked when you are here. Otherwise, go about your daily routine, work, school, etc. Not a threat, apparently. I'm 48, fit, sane, fun, and love to perform oral sex. Am a artist and writer and live a healthy lifestyle. Live just a few miles from SDSU. Let me know if I can help. And then another one. Thanks for flagging. Truly immature. So, here's what I did today. I took, a look at this phone here. I posted, how the network is being dusted, just another piece of communication means. And then you're like, Why does he have to go over these? Why don't people look at the communication means, somehow else, who takes care of the communication means? And then, I'm one person to say, quote unquote, this is a communication mean. This is a device that is malfunctioning and letting the system packet go. Magic doesn't work with magic, you can copy and paste, the unique IDs and store keys, whatever you want from, a password protected like account, basically. You're only going to get so far into it, maybe 5 to 13 hours before, what you might consider like an operator like in the network to go find the file and collect it. With unique keys, like the possibility of like, 2 unique keys like being out in the open, for that amount of time without a network, signifying that it's like, 5 to 15 hours before, the protocol like, goes in and then, it checks for arrangements in the system. And that's what it should do, not always. Unless like they're hacking or attacking like a CMOS system, fundamentally like that's how, MP drivers work with PMOS. So basically this is what I'm seeing. So I'll show you right now. These are some audio files that are just some basic audio files. They register in the device and everything. There's nothing wrong with them. And again, you're saying like, I'm skeptical about this. And then you're saying like, well, like, I don't see how there's a difference or, philosophy behind all these things being connected. And you're like, well, I do and I don't. Well, not if you're me. So let me go on here. The fastest, I didn't read the post here. This is a very long post. The fastest and easiest way to pen test a unique ID or MAC still has a keypad, but is still susceptible to PS1 packages being misdomained, like a MP4 subset or averaging user databases. A database is only good as its dust. It's E. A prime division of this unit is delta. A variable starts with a sum of signals that means a degree or angle sum or theta is a open variable on a device that runs. So basically that's approximately like what starts your computer. Delta is not the delta where it's a tight triangle like a food pyramid. It's an upside down triangle where it's falling to the ground. The theta is always being trying to move. It's the basic little short circuit that people rearrange. Does it have to be there? Is it an imprint? It's miscellaneous. That's why we have chaos in the world. That's what theta kind of works like in a modern system. So going on, it designates that signal to continually run. The difference between an old onset database with average sums and a new onset database with sums and datasets is the old can contain a pentameter. A new one contains absolute containers, which are direct material in a system. I said pentameter. I think it was parameter I was trying to say. And then a sum list is a list of defined variables that are scores like that of RAM. So that could short circuit, it could fall apart. Does a small Nokia phone fall apart easily? I'm sure it does, but why? Why would you have the kind of system in it? Why would you have a CMOS system in it? It's like neglect versus variance. Like it's like OpenC versus C++, as they put it, or technically C#. I've seen a C# run on a C basic before, so not gonna lie. Just stringing it out there that it doesn't always make sense, like just because people say it. But going on, C++ is like built dynamically. It works in system like chaos and shock. It's like a one flat plane with a pole on top of it and another pole on top of it. And you have to build off those. C system basic C or OpenC works as like a container. You work with the model because it's already built basically. It's not a good program. That's where like programs like C+ came in. Fell apart, and then C# came in. Eventually there was C++ that branched off of C++. But again, you have to think, why did it fall apart? Why did it run? Somewhat because of, the dot-com bubble. There was a lot of medical want and need. Did these projects fall apart in the end because their programming didn't work well? Yeah, they didn't work at all. So this is what we're left with today. And then these are this is the rest. I'll read the rest. A sum list is a list of defined variables that are scores like that of RAM. The CPU is a setting for functions like a disk or a battery. They're polarized. Table functions arrays within P1, P2. Serial numbers such as a cursor protocol or average sums. The identity of a computer and the step system of a PC and any induction process like connecting to another system. Graphical limitations function, a RAM, and score as limits in a step power of a computer. And you can make of it what you will. That's what you might see in a fundamental system or program. So look at look at this phone here. These are just some basic songs that are uploaded. So you're showing you this development works and doesn't work. It works on this satellite phone, Wi-Fi phone, if you call it a 5G phone, iPhone. I'm on an iPhone right now, so this is what it works. But you look at this; these are the songs. This one's from Macklemore, and he's a romantic writer in a way, so to speak. So here's one CD-ROM developer stuck in the middle. A simple video, I made, video and MP3 I made to test signals and also work with business ethics. So, that is what it is. It's a basic modularity, like a neutral point, but also something that is a downsize and collapse. So go on. Here's one MP3 player song for Eminem for its song about the Las Vegas mass shooting. So that's another interesting concept. And then there's another picture of it. And then here's a volume media, accidentally pushed. Sound of Freedom, an interesting one. Why not buy the MP3 player or MP3 about it? So here we go, 10,000 Hours by Macklemore. And then here's SD cards, files. And then what are these? Build.ps1, whatever that is, build admin.cmd, build admin ps1 config, whatever those are. Don't do anything on the system. Should it do anything on the system? Have they been able to been flagged before? Who knows? What that means? This whatever this is, this makeup of it says build USB task Q5, whatever those are. I just found a random USB drive, so I just plugged it in this phone. For God forgive me. So here's the files I created. These are MPT files, they state MPT in the text document of the file, and then one says MPT.svg, MPT.ava. And why are they crossed and mixed? Because they work with mini signals. So mini signal is something that was developed a long time ago. It worked with a lot of these systems. It worked with what you might consider grounding systems or variance loops, things like that. And practically they still work today, but this is what I see on my computer right here. It says mpt.ava, mpt.svg, and then show you what it says. There we go. Oh, it doesn't say. Well, basically, there's an error. If you were to click, it says unable to display message or image because it is invalid or broken. So that's what you see. And then go on to the next post or response to the room. Oh, there's another one. You could be fun to live with if you were on birth control. Haha. Just charming. And then, it is what it is. And then here's my AI model. Very, very, it is what it is. It's an AI model. I mean, does it look like me? It doesn't technically always, look like the person, but I mean, there's some similarities. So, here's holding a flower. Just some basic things. Apparently, it's my AI model for sake of mind as a fiance. So, because the network is so, I would consider it intense. There's no practical way to get out the correspondence of two communication points. Like you can't take an array, set a function. Why? Because somebody's disabling all of the sets, arrays, and function. So it's the Facebook moderator, the admin, what you might consider the malicious intent personality that disables messages, on different groups, obtains, whatever they're obtaining and call themselves pen testers. It's embarrassing. This is what people don't need to do. They're adults. They are professional adults. We don't really tolerate that in the community at all. So yeah, it is what it is. As I posted another message, an AI model gender conversion. There was another message, but this one it says AI model gender conversion for hand push phone or hand dial phone. This is what I got from using the phone, the Nokia phone, taking a picture and making an AI model. Is it going to direct a difference? I don't know. Will I follow the signal? I sure have to, or else, detective work won't be done. And as you can see, no detective work been done. So there it is. It doesn't look, as real as the iPhone image. A lot bigger hands. You can obviously see that there's less of a focus in there. But it is what it is. And then there's me making those. So go on. We'll see how Craigslist works. I put a Craigslist ad of this. Directly faced it with my Facebook profile. And I of course have a username here, and if you can see it, it's LMNOP 3.4, and that's a vague sake, or what do we call it, serendipity at like what programming exists down south. And under down south rules, as we put it, it's called undercover like work. you develop a plan of action to like reconsider the city. Does it go into action or plan? Is it the most corrupt city in the world? Kind of. So that's what you got there. So this is like what approximately it is. LMNOP 3.4. And why? Because that's the programming problem right there. It's a little bit of English to a little bit of what that is. I'm not totally sure of the concept, but that's what I made it. So that's the ad there. And then here's one. I apparently did a forced breach. So I didn't do really actually anything. I actually followed the rules and everything. Created a second account with my fake fiance AI model generated. I don't see why this would break any rules actually. It's just kind of a way of going about business is developing a system for business. If that's not normal, then I would consider that abnormal psychology. So it says forced entry and breach of access. And that's, me putting that in there. So it is what it is. Good luck trying to get a job at Microsoft or Apple, I'm pretty sure. And that says your account has been restricted for 2 days. Your account activity didn't follow our community standards, so you can't do one or more things you usually do. Yikes. Does that mean you can't add a friend or add a group? That doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, that's a networking flaw or something because I grew up in the United States. That's called legal. Freedom of speech is legal. I'm pretty sure whoever's the moderator or form manager, doesn't understand the laws of the United States. That's not legal. I mean, you could talk about advice. You can talk about, sanctity, your feelings, emotions, and intelligence. You're not allowed to, monitor somebody like that. But, again, it brings about as the question of, all of the other things you find and you look over on, looking at the feed. You can look at drugs. You can look at paraphernalia. Could it be on a clean network? You could have a VPN from an antivirus that's respectable, that does identity theft monitoring. Yes, you could, and it could still happen. So, this is what you get. Oh, look at this. That's a strange. I've never seen that one before. Since it's time to equate to conspiracy of the SoCal network and the amount of housing that can not be insured, anyone know of houses, rooms for rent? And, of course, we're not seeing any feedback. 5 impressions. Let's click on the eye on the 5 impressions button. There are no additional analytics to show because this post is only visible to your connections. So, I don't know what it is. So here's another post. First in and first out is always data. Similar to mental health diagnosis, F is just an array in the DSM criteria catalog. So, again, it doesn't say anything. And then here's, more repost of considering the AI model, and then here it is, the AI model, like when you search it. So basically this is searched. So it shows AI model survey. I posted on my Flickr. So free to use. If you use my name, this is free to use and collect. You just have to quote unquote use my name. And that's a sophisticated professional way to go about doing things. When it's not, you have to look at the database, look at the communications. Why does this person have this information that they shouldn't have? Very, very normal. What my professor at psychology would call kleptomaniac, kleptic. You steal things, you don't give it back, I guess, and then you go about lying some more. So, I doubt, all the pool of people that are professional adults are lying about, stealing. It's rather unprofessional, right? To do things, you need to be a professional adult. So, here's another search result for Google, at least Lens, for looking at my images for my AI. And it does, and then it doesn't find the images there. As you can see, some of them show them, some of them don't show them. Yeah, so there you go. And then, going on to my fiance, and then it shows, some stories of the fiance. Then here's some images of people that, monitor the account. And these are just to kind of collect and, look at the images, basically. Have you ever gotten a message as a guy on a dating site? I don't know. Have you? The world thinks, it can do anything it wants, but, yeah, I don't know. So, they're all blurred like a guy's would be. So, you can look into it, the profile pictures and everything like that. So, what it is. Collect data, don't collect data. This is one that, will survive for the rest of eternity. New Apple campus. This made me have happy tears of excitement. The new Apple campus will change San Diego forever. And that was 4 months ago that declared that Apple was going to buy a campus in San Diego and do something there. So interesting. And then, looks like this guy got 30 years in prison for, sexually assaulting prisoners. Terrible thing. And then you go on, and you can go on, all of the time here and keep on going and 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 going. But, will you find it? Will you not find it? I don't know. This one's for Mac, then Encrypt. SVG file hack is the one I mentioned before. And, again, you can look at all of them. You can report different nominalities on Facebook right here. And you could not get anywhere. You could, probably talk to this guy who knows this is a bot here. Wow. These are all the things you see you could do. Very, 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 very intense here. So, this is what you see. You could even go on a different profile section for not Instagram or, what's it called? OkCupid. You use Hinge, which some people thought you could, use or send free messages. You cannot. And, to look at the images, this girl looks crazy. She has two pencils holding up in her hand, and then these really niche things, what you consider niche. Like the more you develop these skills, the more you profound yourself into this kind of technology. So, that's what you see. And then you could, basically put these basic variables. So the question again is like, do you see, way into this process of, collecting? I mean, you wouldn't have to collect any information. You just have a steady database that works like, a professional adult would. You could come up with multiple hypotheses. This one says purchase a scannable ID. It looks pretty corrupt from what I'm seeing. And then you could, go about it all day. Again, I mean, the nonsense goes out and out of, again, this is a JROTC Educators and Alumni Network. I am in. 4 days ago, I got invited to. How long I would try to go into that? I don't know, IDK. So, the more you think, the more you know, educate yourself. It's a lot of, BS, what you can get, and you can see this is malicious. Yeah. So, and then here's an MP3 player. I'll work, red signals, red, baby sign language, red. What does this have to do with MPT files? So, and that's an MP3 player. It's in another video. These are apparently schizoid personality to some people, but in real life, IRL, I consider that embarrassing. If that person was going to keep their job again, if they thought someone's going to go around and then collect people's information and then go about doing what they're doing right now, which is might be considered sexual assault, it might be considered hacking, it might be considered drug dealing. A lot of things. It might be taboo to talk about, in your personal life as a professional adult, but, as an adult or professional adult or person, you keep things open so people don't get into danger or harm themselves. Look at all these accounts that, clearly you have no idea who these people are. If you don't know who they are, I have no idea who any of these people are. It looks insane. It looks so insane. I probably wouldn't want my child on Facebook. I'm not sure what to say. So this is, again, documented proof. And then here's one of the Nestle brand ambassador, toll free. Here are pictures of pizza. Just a mistake of their foods, what they do about their food. So it's kind of it goes to show, like, basically they're not doing much. They're doing the bare minimum, and it looks pretty sketchy. How sketchy, I don't know. It looks fairly sketchy. So again, here's what it is, and make of it what you will. Fear your day, don't fear your day. Do something about your life. Do something about your job. I hope you do something about your job. I don't know. If you don't know how to program, you give it up to someone, who has some general discretion in the area. And I'm not saying the next programmer, you're saying, well, I could do it now. Find somebody who's ethical, who can do their job right. Don't just trust anybody. Even a police officer could be a bad guy. So think about what you can do for your people, for your job, for your life. So this is what this video is, and we'll just leave it there. So you enjoy the rest of your time.